Hi and welcome back to the level 99 challenge plus Barret only. To start off, we're going to change the background color. Hey, wouldn't it be exciting if there had been some news about the remake for the Final Fantasy game? I sure think so. We're changing the red up here, and we're going to change it. Instead of 103, it's going to be 121. Oh, dag, y'all. Watch the upper right-hand corner. Here come. Boom. Big change. Gameplay audio is a little bit loud. Let me do some modifications here. Let me just tweak that down a bit. Let's see. It's still a little bit hot. That's better, I think. I think we can work with that. Alrighty. I could probably say something about the remake for the next 2 hours, but I don't really want to. Generally, I'm just like, this is the high end of what I was anticipating for the remake, what I've seen. It's also a teaser, and so there's not a lot of meat on the bone to chew over yet. The character designs all look pretty good. Nothing astonishing, but good. They've done a good job with those. Still not sure about Barret's voice. I think it's a bit much is probably the best way that I can describe it. They're leaning a bit too hard into the Mr. T trope. But if that's the way they want to do it, then that's the way they want to do it. I mean, it looks very pretty just from a graphical standpoint, technologically. It looks like a very pretty video game. And that's exciting because we've been waiting for 14 years since it was promised as a tech demo. And pretty much we just got an extended version of that PS3 tech demo from 14 literal years ago. And so 10,000 days later, hey, this game might actually come out before 2025. Maybe. We'll see. It definitely still looks episodic, which doesn't surprise me. And I'm fine with that because you can't make as relatively limited a game as Final Fantasy VII is anymore. They learned that lesson from Final Fantasy 13. If they try to remake this game faithfully in a fully rendered 3D environment, then it would feel like a hallway simulator, which is why Final Fantasy 13 caught so much flack. And other reasons, but that's one of them. Having that fully realized area means that you need to fill it out with a lot more detail. That takes a lot of time. I would rather them take a long time making the game than force their workers to crunch, because that would suck and make a worse game. So I'm all for them doing it episodically and not trying to cram all of the essence of Final Fantasy VII fleshed out in the fully rendered 3D environment with all the other accoutrement they're going to put on there. And then say, yeah, this is all going to just be one single product and that's going to be good. It looks like they're adding in some interesting things, like the escape from the reactor. Looks a lot more interesting. At the moment, it's just, oh, make sure you talk to Jesse and you've got it. It looks like they're making it more action-y, which is nice. So just notice I have a window over here that might make some noise if I leave it open, so after this battle I'm going to close that. I don't want to risk interrupting the battle and causing it to soft lock. The only real complaint I have is show us Tifa, because we've been waiting, again, 5,000 days. You got Cloud and you got Aerith in the tech demo way back when. You can make the argument perhaps that we have Advent children. That's a very different Tifa. Not just physically speaking, but personality-wise. I want to see Avalanche member still in the middle of trying to figure out what's happening with Cloud. All that business, Tifa. And if she is gonna be in Smash, that's a reasonable excuse. I'll allow it, as they say. Is that gonna happen? Maybe. I would say the odds are about 10%. That said, Tifa would be an amazing Smash character. The possibilities for that moveset, are you kidding me? I don't think I have anything else that's profound and noteworthy to say about it. So I'm probably about to mute the old microphone so I'm not self-conscious about my breathing being heard while I'm doing this. I'm just trying to run through the list. Barret's voice, again, I think they're leaning a bit too far into the Mr. T of it all. Everyone else I'm fine with. I don't follow the voices as closely as some people do, so I don't have strong opinions about that. I am curious what that Sephiroth scene is. I don't know if that's the flashback during the second reactor mission, or if that's sort of after the first one. Now Sephiroth is going to appear to Cloud. I think I'd be fine with that. It'd be somewhat unusual, but it's fine. If they can make it work, they can make it work. The real takeaway that I have is there's still a lot we do not know. And I am hoping... No, I am hopeful based on what I've seen, but it has not assuaged every one of my fears, but I would say it's on the right track. There's no red flag that I'm seeing that says, nope, this is actually going to be terrible, which, based on how long it's taken them to make it, I would hope that they would at least be able to show good stuff at this point. The only other thing I have to say, and this is really the last thing, is that I just don't know if I'm going to be able to reach level 99 in the #1 reactor in the remake. I couldn't sleep all last night tossing and turning, and I just hope, y'all. I just hope. Okay, that's all. I'm going off mic now. Cronim, hello and welcome to the 2 most exciting minutes in sports. Just kidding, it's level 99 challenge plus, and it lasts more than 500 hours. Yeah, safety save time. I'm glad that somebody is excited. My general thoughts on the trailer. It all looks good. It looks like I said this a little bit earlier, but nothing in there discouraged me that the remake should be good, but it's still too early to say that it's all going to be what I want it to be. I'm reserving judgment on the combat system until it's actually playable in my hands, or at least in somebody else's hands, and they can give feedback about it. It looks like it could be good. It looks like you can switch between party members, which is good. What I'd really like to see is a system where it's technically possible to stick with the same party member the whole time, but you would be more greatly benefited by switching back and forth between them. And so it sort of flows like a turn-based combat system. But I don't know if that's what they're working on. That's just my hopes for what's coming. And I want to know, where did Tifa go? Was she out to lunch? Is she going to be in Smash? I don't know. Honestly, I think that would be the acceptable reason why she wasn't in the trailer. But I don't know. We'll see. To be fair, Cloud does or should look like he's about to drop dead from exhaustion, but yeah, having him less gaunt, I think is the right word, is a good choice. It's that balance where, yes, at the start of the game, he did just recently break out of a tube. I think that was pretty shortly before the start. I'm not sure about the timeline after they escape, how long that takes. But I figure that was a pretty short time. And then you also want it to be, hey, I enjoy playing this video game as this character. And I would lean more towards the latter of those two. The other question is, they showed Cloud and Aerith in the sewers, which comes after Don Corneo's mansion. How much is that sequence going to be modified? I think it needs a few tweaks. Just some of it, like, I don't have a problem with Cloud cross-dressing on its face, but some of it is tone deaf in a society that has progressed from where we were at 22 years ago. And so I hope they keep the fun of it while also making the for example, the gym less reliant on stereotypes. It's a little bit rough in there as it stands, but I do want there to be the same. Just going and totally messing up Don Corneo's whole scene. I think that they can actually go a little bit more extreme in that regard. That would be fine with me. I don't know what they're going to do with the honeybee inn. I don't know what you can do with the honeybee inn. There's just... Oh, the honeybee inn. Yeah, I don't know. I do hope that when you go to the diner and order today's special, that it does still just look like a... one untextured oblong polygon, and then the more cylindrical, untextured polygon as the meal. I think that would be nice. Yeah, there's just the honeybee and... I don't know. it is... I mean, if you just had it, what you could do is not have it be the screen goes to dark. It's just Cloud hanging out with a bunch of dudes in a hot tub. You know, that's fine. There are ways you can do it. If they're thinking that their choices are either leave it exactly as it is or cut it out completely, then that's not going to work. Based on the teaser, what I'm hopeful about is that, like, the escaping the reactor sequence looks like they've upgraded it. Hopefully it'll all be upgrades, but they've certainly modified it to make it fit better in a fully rendered 3D environment. That means that they are focused more on the spirit of the scenes than on a shot-for-shot remake. Looking at you, Lion King. And so that means that they're going to be hopefully evaluating that and doing a good job with it. I don't know if they will or not. I have concerns about most of the times that larger game developers have to work with sensitive topics. And so I'm kind of nervous, but I'm hopeful that it will be well done. I am wondering where the first chunk of episodic content is going to cut off. I'm assuming leaving Midgar, but I'm not sure. I'm also wondering if they're going to have a full world map or not. Mostly based on some of the other recent similar games. That would have to be a big old world map with a lot of details. They could do it. I don't know what's how they're going to do it. Yeah, I don't have a problem with Cloud cross-dressing. It's just a lot of the other things in that sequence, like the Honeybee Inn, may or may not still make it. And maybe they'll finally explain why the guy in the pharmacy is so concerned about the guy at the inn selling protein drinks. Maybe. I still don't know if it's supposed to be like, you know, protein drinks, wink, or if, I don't know. That's the biggest confusion piece for me in that whole sequence. The honeybee inn stuff I wish was a little bit more confusing. I think I know a bit too well what's going on there, and I don't like it in the regards of Cloud not having control over what's going on. Yeah, that's why I'm wondering about the world map, because they could do it like in 10, where it's just, hey, you're in this new place now. When you get the airship or the tiny Bronco or what have you, you just sort of go to the place you say you want to go to. But there's a lot of neat stuff in Final Fantasy VII that happens in the world map. Specifically, the weapon fights. And so, are they just going to say, screw it, let's have a big old model of Cloud running around the world map and that's how we're going to run it? Or are they going to be extremely detailed and make a open world-esque Gaia that we will be able to explore? Because I would be very excited for that. I don't think it's going to happen. But if that's what they're taking so long to work on, then more power to them. That would just be a very large undertaking for a game with such a linear plotline, relatively speaking, that I don't think that's what they're going to do. And so I'm curious what they are going to do instead. Also, will there still be the basketball game at the Gold Saucer? And the arm wrestling game? And the Mog House? And the Rock, Paper, Scissors simulator? These are the questions I have burning in my brain. And yet if they just make a fancier version, an HD version of the original world map, I would be fine with that. I don't know if they're going to say that fits their aesthetic moving forward. And so that makes me curious as to how they're going to handle it. Because I think what they absolutely don't want to do is have another 13-esque, you just walk through this town and talk to people, and none of it really feels like it has consequences. And so striking the balance between a very attractive world that feels like you can't actually interact with it, and a very interactive world that has some rough edges. I'm not sure where on that spectrum they're going to land. Because everything we've seen in the teaser has been very much what they want us to see at this point. And so I don't have any information about anything beyond where we're looking as far as actually interacting with the world outside of combat. Don't know how that's going to work yet. I think the summary of my impressions of the remake teaser trailer is there's not enough information for me to speculate with any confidence about anything. Now I will speculate about everything with absolute confidence for the next 30 minutes. It's sort of what I'm taking away from it. But it looks good. I'm not 100% optimistic yet because I'm not going to be until I can play it, but it looks good. Yeah, I'm not sure about the sunglasses. But, you know, maybe he wants to, you know, protect his eye health. I hope that... Okay. My big hope is that in addition to the weapons providing aesthetic changes like they do in the game you see before you, they can also change your character's looks. That would be fantastic. I would be all into that. You want your character to have a ribbon equipped? They got a ribbon on. For Red 13, it's tied around his tail or something. I think that would be great. If they can render the individual beads of sweat and the individual hairs for the cinematics, surely they can render bangle with some materia in it. We've done it. Hooray. Do I care more about how the remake will change the story or the gameplay? I know they're going to change the gameplay. So this gameplay right here doesn't work in a AAA title shipping in 20 whatever. Could they make it work? Technically maybe, but it would be a hard sell for a lot of players, and I think they would not be willing to do that. The story is complicated because I think they wrecked a lot of the story in the English translation, and I'm not just talking about typos. I think a lot of characters are mischaracterized, and so I am curious to see how that gets rectified in what they do in the coming days. Persona 5 is successful, but it's a very particular style, and they've already shown that it's going to be at least mostly real time, and I think Final Fantasy and Square Enix in general are leaning more towards the real time open world. And I don't have a problem with that. I mean, they're not going to delete this game from existence by making a remake, and so if you like this gameplay, you can still play this version, and so that's fine. The story is... I don't know. There are a lot of things you can do to expand Final Fantasy VII's story, and I don't know what they're going to do with it. They've already made notable but not significant changes based on what they've shown in the teaser, with Sephiroth appearing in that time span that they're suggesting. That's different. Something I was thinking about is one of the big things in this game is throughout it up until Cloud and Tifa and the live stream, Cloud is hearing a voice in his head, and if that voice has an actual voice behind it, then that's going to tip the hand as to who that voice is. And so there are a few ways you can do it. You can just layer a bunch of voices over each other and make it indistinguishable, but they're going to have to figure out how to keep that part of the mystique alive. There are a lot of things that work differently in a game released in 20 whatever than a game released in 1997. And that's just in terms of mechanical implications of having voice actors and a more cinematic approach to dialogue than what we have in this game, which is generally just a text box pops up. Maybe they do a little animation. And the occasional FMV. I do hope that they maintain something like the materia system. I don't think that any Final Fantasy game has come close, as I bumped the microphone. I don't think any Final Fantasy game has come close to the balance between accessibility and flexibility of the materia system. I think that they're either you get locked into, oh, this character, I've been speccing them towards magic, so they're going to stay on magic. Or Well, I can just move this around wherever, so it's fine. It doesn't really matter when I junction these spells onto this person. Having it be, you gotta have it equipped, and you've gotta have it building towards that certain AP level. And do you put on the new stuff, or do you keep the old stuff and keep it leveling up? There's a lot of interesting decisions there. Will they keep it? I hope so. Or something like it. I don't know if I agree that Final Fantasy VII is an easy game. I think it's an easy game if you know how all the mechanics work. Because I remember getting a lot of game overs back before the days of the game FAQs and such. And if you don't know what a boss is bringing to the table before you fight them, for example, carry armor, then it is a very difficult experience. Like with just about anything, if you know how to do it, it's easy. If you don't, I think that 8 is easier if you get the junctioning right and you don't get the leveling wrong. I think that if you stock up on your magic early on and keep up those levels as you go through it, 8 is, for the most part, very easy. And that's not even, you know, level grinding like I'm doing here. That's, you take 10 minutes and draw up everything you can in the first area. Yeah, 8 is very easy to break, and so that's sort of the point. 7, once you get W item and like the last 5% of the game, it kind of breaks it if you use your hero drinks and vaccines. But 8 you can break almost immediately, and so that makes it very simple using the gameplay mechanics that they provide for you in their intended usages. So I don't even know if that's breaking it or if it's just the balance in that game is weird. Now, the best boss in this game, it depends on if we're talking presentation-wise or mechanics-wise. Because presentation-wise, it's obviously safer Sephiroth, because you can't beat One Wing Angel and all of that. Mechanically, that fight kind of sucks, especially with Supernova taking up 4 minutes or however long every time that he casts it. Mechanically, though, I'm running through the list in my head. I don't know, they're all pretty good. Well, they're not all pretty good. Most of them are pretty good. I can't think of one where I'm like, oh yeah, that's the one that absolutely rules school. I would say, I don't think this game is easy. I would say that it's simple, and its simplicity compared to the materia system, along with the various ways that it's broken, like the fact that if you inflict darkness on an enemy, then it doesn't lower their hit percentage. It sort of does put a damper on some of the excitement of the materia system. So that is a fair criticism. Most of the boss fights are just make sure that you keep your HP up. Darkness is useless when used against enemies. It does affect the player's characters, but not the enemies. I think that's what I remember being true last I checked. That and I think magic defense percentage is broken. There's a lot in this game's combat system that is held together with duct tape and twine. I thought I read that somewhere. I'm trying to find it again on the internet. Darkness is only usable by enemies, so the player can inflict the status through the means of the ink item. It is of little tactical use, as most enemies do not suffer from the status. Due to a bug, it only affects the commands Attack, Morph, Death Blow, Mug, Slash All, Flash, 2x Cut, and 4x Cut. Because the enemies do not make use of the above commands, they are unaffected by it, making inflicting opponents with the status pointless. And I don't think that they fixed it. Probably because if they were to try and fix it, 7,000 other things would go wrong. Which is one of the reasons they're remaking it, so... Pretty much it is... I don't want to say it's not a well-built game, combat mechanics speaking, but there are a lot of loopholes. W item is a fine example of it, and probably the best known one. They were just starting to figure out, hey, how does PlayStation coding work? While they were building it, and so a lot of it is just, this works, so we're going to keep it. And for the most part, it works fine, at least. There's just some things like, hey, darkness doesn't do anything when you use it on enemies. Yeah, W, someone would do it. W item just lets you get infinite vaccines and hero drinks. Which if you buff up on hero drinks, Makes it a lot easier. Well, now we're really rolling. Rolling around at the speed of sound. Alright, y'all. We're gonna call it there for today. Maybe one more fight along the way. We'll find out together. The answer is no. No more fight along the way. We'll be back at it again on Sunday. Until then, remember, I don't even know. Just take care of yourself.